If they serve like this and you just passively push, they can kill the third ball instantly. Against these weak balls, you can aggressively chop the ball, or you can also side chop it with power. When returning serve with a push, avoid a basic straight up and down motion. A straight push sends heavy backspin into the net and pops up no-spin balls. So for both forehand and backhand pushes, always add a little sideways motion. A slight sideways motion on either side prevents you from eating the spin. Second is the pushing timing. For long balls, pushing right off the bounce creates high quality, while pushing on the early descent ensures consistency. If you keep missing serve returns, slow down and push during the early descent to reduce errors. For a higher quality push, take it early off the bounce, don't wait for the highest point. For short balls, the timing is the exact opposite. To execute a high-quality drop shot on a short ball, take it early off the bounce. To dig a long push heavily, you must take it at the highest point. When dealing with short balls, never dig long if you miss the highest point. Many players step in too late and try to dig during the descent, causing the ball to hit the net. Without the ball's upward momentum, a late dig will definitely go into the net. Catch it at the highest point to dig, and you'll have no problem. Digging any time other than the highest point carries a high risk of hitting the net. So if you miss the highest point on a short ball, add quality by brushing the side or side chopping. Don't dig downwards. Many think the ball hit the net because of heavy spin. The real reason is stepping in too late. Trying to dig a descending ball causes it to net. The golden contact point for short balls is brief. Top players serve short to draw you in, force a weak push, and then attack. I mentioned brushing the side of long balls, but on short balls, digging even the side will likely hit the net. Next, I'll teach you how to read the incoming ball to decide whether to push forward or downward. Amateurs often serve with subtle spin variations, like 80%, 100%, or 50% spin, which are the hardest to read. The solution is watching their racket angle. A sharp racket tip rotation with fast, concentrated friction means heavy spin. When pushing heavy spin, keep your racket face open and push forward. A chopped serve like this is fast but lacks heavy spin. If they use a vertical racket angle to chop their serve, you should match their angle and keep your racket vertical too. If they use a flat racket face, you have to flatten your racket angle accordingly. If I serve a flat backspin and you push with a vertical angle, it will easily hit the net. Match their racket angle. If they go vertical, you go vertical. If they stay flat, you stay flat. You can still push a slow side topspin serve. But if the side topspin is fast with combined force, you can't push it. To push slow side topspin, raise your hand higher than the ball and chop downwards to dig it back. Generally speaking, any slow ball can be pushed. Adjust based on the spin, push the bottom of the ball for heavy spin. Contacting the lower half allows you to push heavy backspin successfully. For light spin or chopped serves, push the back of the ball, keeping your racket level with the ball. For side topspin, keep your hand higher than the ball and push downwards. If you push side topspin at ball level, it will pop up. Therefore, for side topspin, your hand must be higher than the ball to press the trajectory down. The same principle applies to forehand pushes. Short forehand serves are rarely heavy, so avoid scooping the bottom. Many players pop up short forehand pushes by scooping. I recommend stepping in, targeting the back of the ball, and keeping your hand level with the bounce. If it's side topspin and you push the back of the ball, it will pop up. To handle side topspin, start higher than the ball and chop down to keep it low. Moving on to pushing long versus short balls, the first key is the spin matching principle, or mirror theory. Mirror the server's racket angle when returning the serve. If I follow the direction of his spin just like this, I won't eat the spin. As mentioned, handle right side spin serves exactly like this. Secondly, pushing long balls requires space, while pushing short balls requires staying close. Amateurs often reverse this, intimidated by fast long balls, they just touch it without a backswing. Yet on short balls, they take a massive backswing and end up jamming the ball long. Same for forehand pushes, don't stay too close to the ball on deep long serves. Being too close prevents you from using incoming pace, causing the ball to net. If you must push a long ball, create space, open up, and chop down like a chopper. Adding a small backswing makes pushing long balls much easier. Notice how choppers wait for the ball and chop smoothly. That's why they rarely eat spin. Hook serves or side topspins are useless. Choppers are mostly immune to service spin. For long balls, you need to meet the ball mid-stroke for optimal control. For short balls, you must stay close to maintain control. There is a huge difference between the two. Now, let's discuss returning wide-angle serves, which are increasingly common in amateur games. Many fans report getting attacked immediately after returning these wide serves. My best advice for these serves is to loop them. But since today's focus is pushing, I'll teach you how to push this ball. For light spin wide serves, don't rush the highest point. You'll easily pop it up or push long. Let the ball travel, angle your racket slightly to the right, and use a downward chopping motion. This return will make your opponent very uncomfortable. If you just push forward, the ball will either net or pop up. Never rush the timing on these wide balls. Whether flicking, looping, or chopping wide serves, don't rush. Looping right off the bounce often hits the net. Wait for the ball to come out, looping at a later point is much easier. Same for pushing, consciously wait for the ball, angle the racket right, and chop down. A slightly rightward, downward chop makes the return much easier. Just getting the ball back isn't the goal. Making your opponent uncomfortable is the real objective. When they serve wide, they 100% intend to pivot and blast your forehand. We instinctively return to their middle, so consciously steer the ball to their backhand instead. Therefore, aim your racket right, chop down slightly, and slow down the pace. Push like this, and they absolutely cannot pivot or backhand loop to your forehand. For wide serves on both sides, wait for the ball to drop and stabilize before making contact, even if you plan to loop. To loop, wait for the ball to drop a little, then actively add spin at this later point. Wide serves are inherently difficult, so apply the correct return method. Even if you return it without eating spin, if they score on the third ball, you've essentially failed the serve return. Next, let's cover middle short or half-long serves, a common issue for amateurs. I don't recommend pushing this with your backhand, it leaves you in an awkward position. You'll be vulnerable to attacks on both wings. The best response to a half-long middle serve is to pivot and loop it directly. If it's hard to loop, pivot your body, use their spin, and open your racket face. Reverse the spin and place it deep into their backhand. Once pinned to their backhand, most players will loop back to your backhand, as changing down the line is too risky. Immediately prepare for a backhand block after this return. But you can't use just one tactic in a match. Adjust based on feeling and context, flick if you're confident or leading, but at 9-9, prioritize consistency and just push. Opponents often serve left side spin half-long, use a forehand push and apply pressure to the left. Going with the spin. Push towards your left, sending the ball straight to their backhand to jam them. Backhands already lack space and timing. Returning their own spin makes it even harder for them to handle. Let me give you one more crucial tip. When should you use a subtle snap in your pushes? First, when receiving a fast, deep serve, push with a smooth, even pace. Against fast serves, keep your stroke uniform. Even if you want a faster return, accelerate smoothly through the ball. Never jerk or snap at the ball. Keep the stroke entirely fast or entirely slow, avoiding sudden bursts of power. If your stroke on a long ball is jerky, you will almost certainly pop it up or hit the net. So when can you aggressively chop or dig? You can add power against soft, slow serves, or weak short and half-long balls. Against these weak balls, you can apply a sharp, compact wrist snap. That's when you can aggressively chop the ball. Whether you are heavy chopping, digging, or side chopping, you can use that explosive wrist snap. Serve another soft ball, see, I can aggressively side chop it with power. Any soft, slow, short, or half-long serve, whether side top or side backspin, should be attacked with a sharp wrist snap. Because by serving soft, they are baiting a slow return to set up their own attack. If they serve like this and you just passively push, they can kill the third ball instantly. So you must vary your touch and use that sharp wrist snap. But if the incoming serve is fast and driving, you must push with a smooth, even stroke. Remember this golden rule, it comes from experience, otherwise you will make unforced errors.